Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Lucid. I'm going to be hopping into the actual gameplay now for the nation LA-Ulm in this Let's Play. So hopefully you tuned into the first two episodes and saw the Pretender creation and national overview. And let's see where we started. So this is like the first time I've played Pelwer where I didn't start on the island in the past like 6 months. And the island's like the worst start. Friggin' hate starting on the island. Anyway, this is an awesome place to start. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 provinces around my capital, which means I can get a huge amount of resources, which is really good when you go scales. So that's really good. And then I don't have a ton of farmland nearby. Like I've got this one, which is pretty good. And then I may have access to this one. There's probably a nation somewhere around here. Yeah, but otherwise these are plain provinces. And these will probably be around like 1,000 population each. Some of them will be like 6,000. But in general, this is a pretty income-rich portion of the map, and lots of good candidates for blood hunting. These are better for putting cities in, but for Ulm, like all of these are going to be really, really good for blood hunting, which is obviously what I'm going to be looking at getting into. So yeah, so that's really good. Let's talk about our starting army. So this is our starting army. It's some of these guys and some of these guys. The pikemen are pretty good versus melee troops, and the shielded dudes are much better versus archers. So what we're going to do this first turn is we're going to ping this. Now there's a small chance that my guy dies, either from flyers in a throne province or from retreating. Now there's a very small chance your commanders can die. So that's unfortunate. What we're going to be doing, this is one of the changes with LA-Ulm, and I talked about it a little bit, but you can get 3 of these a turn. And what you can do now, you can get so many wolves so quickly, like by turn, if these each make 2 per turn, each turn you get 2 per turn times 3, so you get 6 per turn. So by like 4 turns of doing this, I can have 6 times 4, which is 24 free wolves a turn. And by 8 turns doing it, I could have twice that, which would be like 48. That is a sufficient amount of wolves to act as frontline fodder. Because, yeah, and especially at the beginning, you don't have enough resources really to make Zweihanders, which are your best frontline dudes. You're kind of stuck with these guys, and you can't make many of them. And it's going to cut into, like, right now you can see we're resource constrained even making crossbows. So every time you get one of these, it's like 2 crossbows you could have gotten. So you really don't want to do frontline units, and this is a good cheap way to get around some of your early resource constraints. Yeah, so that's basically the first turn. We're going to go ping this throne and see what's up in there. And then we're going to max out wolf herd production and crossbows, and we should be good to go. And we'll pull up the next turn. As you can see, we're on about, we're on about turn 23 right now. So hopefully we get caught up. I like to play in a good bit before I start, because sometimes the games kind of get ruined, and this one was kind of close actually. So I like to get a little bit into the game before I start, and then I like to catch up and then hopefully play close to real time. Okay, so here we go. We have sorcerers and conjurers. These are really hard indies, because it means they are going to be skelly spamming. And then horse tribe are really good. So this is like an easy throne, because this is either a level 1 or level 2 throne. This is about as hard as it could be. You have horse tribe who are going to shoot you with bows, and then eventually run in and hit you with their lances. And then you have these guys who are going to do skelly spam. I also believe, and we can check it later, but I think these guys replenish their gems after every combat. That sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. I've been told, I haven't verified it myself, but these guys replenish gems after fights. That way you can't kind of wear these guys down through attrition and get rid of all the spellcaster's gems, which is Especially if you had people who would spam fire elementals, that was a good strategy. But in a big battle, these guys are going to turn these death gems effectively into more skeletons, just by reducing the fatigue. So anyway, that's going to be a hard turn. We're not going to go after that super soon, I don't think. And we have our first expansion group. So we also made this guy a prophet. And he has 80 leadership, so he can easily do 3 squads. And I also got Victor's villains. I didn't show you that, but because I'm resource constrained at the beginning, and I have good income, I have enough gold to go after some of the mercenaries. So this is kind of what we're going to do. We're going to put these guys in front. I've got... there's some crossbowmen here, so I'm going to make sure these guys are a little bit farther forward, and hopefully they take up crossbow aggro. If I were a little more sophisticated, I probably should have put these in the skirmish formation, but we'll probably be okay. These guys are archers, and then they can run into melee. So this should work. I don't know how many losses we'll take. It kind of depends how lucky they get with crossbow fire shots. But in general, you know, our strategy is going to be go after weaker indies. Now, I might should have gone after this one, because then I could have chained in here. But I don't trust my scouting reports, and like if this was 30 instead of 10, and then like, I don't know, if there's 15 heavy cav, I don't fight 15 heavy cav with this army. I would lose basically all my front line and probably some of my back, and I might even lose the battle. And I really can't afford that. I want to go after the easiest ones I can. And right now these are 20 pretty easy dudes. This which is 40 and this which is 10. The problem from here is I may not be able to expand farther, because like I can't take this province anytime super soon. As you see, it has knights, which are very, very good. They're basically super elite heavy cav. Or not super elite, but they're better than normal heavy cav. So I'm hoping I can get another expansion up in this direction, but I just don't know. We're continuing with wolf herd production. Once you get your wolf herds, you have them summon allies like this. And, yeah. And then we're going to max out your production. You can see we're still resource constrained. And, yeah, I probably won't be able to send an expansion party out this turn, but maybe next or the turn after I will, depending on kind of how it's looking. But, yeah, so that's this turn. Let's watch and see how our expansion went. So we have our battle. This is supposed to be about 20 dudes. And it looks like indeed it is. Okay. We're targeting their heavy infantry, which is kind of good for crossbows. Okay, it looks like we got them to rout. And then these guys are charging in, which is a little risky because now they're not routing. But fortunately, you can see these are actually pretty good in combat. Like, we just hit them for 16 damage. These guys are getting hit too. So, these guys are really good in short-range combat. This is kind of the reason why these are good crosswomen. They're basically slightly higher precision, but then they do a ton of damage in melee. And you got to see it there, because they ran right past my front guard and ran into my archers, and that's all okay. So, if we look at the battle report, we lost 7 of these guys, because we do take some attrition. But, so this wasn't great. Like, this is not a... This is a little higher attrition than I'd like to be. But not bad. And you're gonna... This is kind of one of the things... if you're a good player, it doesn't always mean you don't take attrition. Because if you're too conservative in your expansion parties, you're going to expand too slowly. So that's always what this game is about. Is like the best players will take a fair amount of attrition because they're balancing out what is the smallest group I could possibly use to take a province with how much attrition am I willing to take, and then what are the odds of winning or losing. So, while you definitely don't want to lose a fight, you may take attrition, then if you get unlucky, you lose. So, kind of the better intuition you have, the closer to the edge you can take it. And we'll be taking it kind of close to the edge here. We've combined these guys because we lost enough of our troops that you start getting a morale penalty if you have a lower group. So we're going to put them up like this, and then I've put my villains up here so they're a little closer to the action, and we'll go ahead and try to take this. This will probably be the last province they can take, and if this scouting report is wrong, we may lose. Meanwhile, we're going to ping this throne and see what's in there. And we are still recruiting only crossbowmen, though we're getting a commander, so we might take the commander and go out this turn. Like this, we probably can take, especially with some wolves to soak up the heavy cav. And if you look at it, I've got 6 wolves now, and then next turn I will have 6 plus 12, so I'll have about 18. And 18 wolves plus 40 crossbow can probably take that. And then next turn I can have somebody bring them more stuff and we can attack that, hopefully. But we'll see how that all goes. That's kind of the plan. And in terms of research, we're not doing any research yet, but I'll go ahead and show you my initial research. We're going to go for Evocation 3. If I'm near Lemuria... Oh, I haven't talked about who's in the game yet. We'll do that right after this. But because this is such a strong late-game nation, people tend to want to rush them early. And they're not weak early. They're definitely strong early. But, yeah, you want to be able to defend yourself pretty well. And these guys have Iron Darts at level 3, which is not awesome, but it's good. And 3 of these guys, like 3 people casting Iron Darts in an early game war can make a big difference. So we want to get that. It's also going to open up Arcane Probing if I want to cast that. And then Magic Duel, which would be pretty situational. But we're going to do that, then we're going to run up Conjuration so we can start Death Site searching, and then it will also open up Power of the Spheres if I need to do that. And then also, like, I can do Earth Elementals and things like that, lesser Earth Elementals and Power. Earth Power is really nice for combining with your Iron Darts, because you will get more Iron Darts for each Earth Path you have, and it'll be much, like, you'll be able to cast it forever with an Earth 2 guy. Or you can put 1 Earth Gem on somebody, and then they can Earth Power, and then spam out Iron Darts. So anyway, there's good. This is covering my ass early game, but I'm not going to be researching much, because I'm going to be spending all my cap turns on these dudes, and then, yeah, and then I'm going to have to get a blood economy going really early. So my research is going to suck, but what research I do have, I want to put towards very early game targets. Okay, so that is that. This is a pretty good income province, 83. And we will do next turn. So this is turn... Oh, we're going to do at the beginning of this one. Because we're going to talk about who's in this game, since I should have done that at the very beginning. Okay, so these are all the players we've got. I know some of these. When you play a fair amount of times, you end up seeing a lot of people in the same games, and some of these people are kind of friends now. So Pythium, this is actually a friend of mine. And Lemuria is a really good player. He's probably one of the best players in the game. And Lemuria is a very strong nation, and they play much different, and they're fought much different than other nations. So they're very strong against certain nations, and they're very vulnerable to other nations. And then they're also very, very strong in the late game, if you build them right. Hopefully, you will see Lemuria Let's Play from me in not too long. Nuclear Monkey has a really good one too. Then me, I'm the Bucket Emperor. That's because I get traveled around in a bucket because I'm a Lich, which is my favorite Pretender chassis. And then we have Marignon, however you say that, who's a human. I don't know them as a player. And then we have Micklin, who actually I can't. Yeah, Micklin. I don't know as a player. I think I might have played one game with them before. Abyssia I've played with before. Utgard is probably one of my better Dominion's friends, and he's really good. And then we have the Usurper, who is it's one of the new nations with Dominions 5. It's Urethria, or however you say that. And this is a semi-aquatic nation. So if we look at all the nations that can go underwater, we've got Lemuria, we've got Micklin, and we've got Erythrea, and then maybe I'm missing one of these that have some aquatic unit. I don't think Pythium can go underwater very easy. So I think that's it. It's Lemuria, Mictlan, and Erythrea, and I'm really hoping that the living nations will take the water, because I've played games where I was Lemuria and I got the ocean system, and it's just a huge win. Because usually the ocean system, if you don't try to push your dom in there, will have other people's dominion. And then basically it's a big piggy bank for you the whole game. So this is who we're playing against. I'm worried. I don't know. Lemuria is always kind of cancerous, especially in a good hands like it is here. And then Marignon can be really good late game, so can Abyssia and Utgard. These are kind of the late game powers along with me. I'm probably the biggest late game power. Lemuria is probably next, and then it's probably Marignon, Abyssia, and then Utgard. Yeah, Pythium's really strange to play in the late age. They're kind of hard to play well. But yeah. Okay. So I think we'll finish this turn, and that will be the end of the first episode. Oh, I gotta show you battles. Okay. So this is our expansion trial over here. And I think the report said there were 20, and it looks like it's about 20, so they didn't lie to us, which is always nice. Okay, we got some early routes, and yeah, it seems that went pretty damn well. I can't complain. We did... Let's see how that happened again, because we lost a lot of our front line. I think it was friendly crossbow fire, which is kind of a problem. See, it looks like they're all alive. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. Yeah, it says they all died. I think this is one of those things where the battle report is lying. I mean, my replay was lying. Because, yeah, I definitely didn't have 10 guys die in that replay. So anyway, that's unfortunate, because actually if I kept these 10, this group would be much more able to expand. But as they are now, they're pretty damn crippled, and we're probably going to lose this fight. So I'm actually probably just going to send these guys off to die here. This guy, they're going to slowly waddle back to base and get reinforcements. Meanwhile, this province, which I was going to attack, is looking far more nasty. And this goes to show you can never trust scouting reports, because before, you remember, it looked very, very innocent. And now it looks really menacing with tons of heavy cabinet. So, while I was going to go up here and then march into here, I've thought better of it. I could potentially attack here and then come up here. But this kind of looks to be the easiest. And right now, I just want easy. Especially until I get more wolves. So, this guy's going to wait here. He might be able to kind of do a fill me up and we can take this. We'll see how this fight goes. But basically, this is all we're doing. We're putting the wolves in front and the crossbowmen here. Now, I would do this differently. I didn't even script this guy. Like, hold, I probably should do. But I would actually move these guys a little farther forward. Now, I didn't. And I'm kind of going back and thinking through how I played this. But that's a slightly better expansion group. But this will be fine. The other thing you can do is you can put the wolves behind it, and they'll trickle through while the archers shoot. Any of these would have been fine. The problem with the way I have it scripted now is I'm going to shoot the hell out of my wolves. But I'd probably shoot the hell out of my wolves anyway. You don't really count on your... Wolves are kind of like the little gladiator units that Airmore has. They kind of die on the first combat that they see any action. But they are good for holding up a front line while the crossbows hit them. And then let's check this out. Let's see what's inside this province. We've got a bunch of sages. So Astral. Then we have a Lore Master. So he is Astral 3, which actually is not that bad, all things considered. Astral 1. Wait, did I click on all these? You got some kind of okay gear. Hopefully we can kill him and get it. Okay, so basically a bunch of sages. What's interesting on Dominions 5.2 is the AI will sometimes spontaneously go into communions. Like, it would be really cool if they did that. I don't think they will. But that's actually pretty easy. That's not going to be super hard to take, especially with a fair amount of wolves. In a big stack of crossbows, I'll be able to take that. No, I'm not going to be rushing in there early, but it's definitely doable. I'm not going to have to, like this one, I probably should wait a long time to take. Ugh, looks scary. We're still only doing crossbows. As you can see, we're still resource constrained, but now that we have a province, we're a little less so. You can see our recruitment points are getting a little closer to being tapped out. And that's why we're getting our low... we're going to be resource constrained in our capital for a long time, but eventually I can actually start adding some high resource units. And I want to take this. Look at the income here. 30,000 people and 270 income. Pretty huge. With a fort on it and my Dominion scales, it's going to be close to 500 income. So, pretty good. And it'll hit 500 after I have growth scales in it for a while. So, can't complain there. I'm definitely going to put a fort here for a few reasons. One, so that this super high income province can't be raided. Secondly, it has really good recruitment points. It will detract from my capital a bit, but not so bad. I'll actually talk about that a little bit. Somebody asked the question about this in one of my videos, like, why would you build forts right next to each other? Because you're gonna, like, this province was sucking resources from this one, but now that this one has a fort in it, I won't get resources from it. Additionally, this province has fewer resources now because they're being sucked in this way. And what will happen is if you put two forts that share a neighboring province, they will both suck resources from it. And they'll suck it until there's no resources left in that province. So you can get it down where there's 0 resources in a province. And then if you build like a third fort around it, you'll start sucking resources away, not just from... Like if I build a fort here and here, then this province would be spreading its resources across all 3, instead of just going to 1. But if you have, like right now, it's just going to 1. Some of them are being transported effectively into here. But if you can see there's still some left over. Now, once I get a fort up here, these resources will be further depleted in this province because they're getting kind of sucked into here. So anyway, that's a little bit how that works. But I definitely want to take this quickly because this is worth taking like 4 other provinces. And it's not that heavily defended. I mean, it's got the knights, but with wolves to eat the knight charges and things like that, like I can probably take it. So anyway, we're expanding here next turn, and you will see the result of that in the next episode. So hope you guys are excited about LA-Ulm, and see you guys soon.